So what's going on guys, Kids here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the best Helldivers 2 weapons tier list. This game in general has bunch of fun and overpowered weapons that we can use, and we have very unique variety to choose from. But the big question is, which ones will actually give you the highest damage possible and much more. So I've done bunch of testing and here are the results. And without any further ado, let's get right into it. So then moving over to the first S tier, where we will put the SR422 railgun, the SG225 breaker, the LAS-16 sickle, PLAS-1 scorcher, GL-21 grenade launcher, and the ARC-3 thrower. So the railgun being in the S tier should not be a surprise to anyone, even with all the nerfs and the buffs. The railgun is still near the top even after losing penetration power, though neither is well suited to killing the larger, more armored enemies. Railgun has a short charging time before you fire it, and it needs to be reloaded after every shot, though it's pretty quick to do that, and has a large supply of ammo, effectively allowing it to be a substitute for your main weapon. It's not uncommon to see people only using the railgun, firing targeted shots at the biggest threats and then resupplying periodically, while Rover or other players thin out the weaker enemies. As far as Breaker goes, in recent patches they have given him a smaller clip and a greater recoil, but it's still one of the best weapons. You just need to use it more carefully for precise shots. Then, as I previously mentioned, the Arc Thrower and the grenade launcher can now easily compete with the railgun. The Arc Thrower is a charging lightning gun that preserves ammo and sends out a shock that leaps between enemies. Some people really like it, but it takes some learning and you can even use it to jump to allies, which makes it for a nice mobility choice as well. And then of course on the other hand we have the grenade launcher, which is a high capacity grenade weapon that's very good against medium tier enemies and can be used to destroy nests and fabricators. Just don't forget with this weapon to be careful around your friends. And then for the last two weapons we have the Scorcher and the Sickle. Both are really good energy weapons. The Scorcher can blow up robot armor especially well, doing very high damage. The only danger is its explosive nature, means shooting enemies close up can kill you too, so you need to keep your distance. And then the Sickle is an AR with cutting edge warband, which can fire rapid blasts that cuts down enemies in split seconds. So then for the next category we have the A tier, and weapons that deserve to be in here is the Breaker Spray and Pray, the P90 Redeemer, SG Breaker Incendiary, AR-23 Liberator, M105 Stalwart, APW-1 Anti-Material Rifle, AC-9 Autocannon, FAF-14 Spear, the FLAM-40 Incendiator Flamethrower, and then lastly the High Explosive and Stun Grenades. So first of all we have the AR-23 Liberator. This is a standard assaulting rifle, which works in almost any situation and can keep up with other A-tier weapons, both in the early and endgame content. Then as for M105 Stalwart, this is a very versatile and powerful machine gun that clears smaller enemies very effectively. Then the FAF-14 Spear is an anti-armor rocket launcher. This weapon is very specialized, but very deadly against heavily armored automation enemies, such as tanks and dropships. I personally recommend to use this weapon only for specific missions, where you will encounter this type of armored enemies. Then the next weapon is my personal favorite one, and it is the Anti-Material Rifle. This is a very lethal sniper rifle that can be used to break armor and do instant damage without much struggle. This is a great low-level railgun substitute, as I like to better shoot enemies from a safer distance. Next up we have the Flamethrower. In the most recent balance, developers have given the Flamethrower a 50% damage boost, making this weapon now very good damage-wise. This bad boy serves great in close to medium range, for especially handling bug hordes. Then next up we have the Autocannon. This is a powerful automatic cannon, which is what most players buy if they can't get the railgun yet. This cannon requires ammo feeding, like the recoilless rifle, so don't waste your ammo on the weaker enemies. Then next up we have the two Breaker weapons. Both are a Breaker variant that has been kindly treated in the recent patches, with buffed fire rates and armor penetration. I am personally not a big fan of them, but they can still output quite a bit of damage. And then for the last weapon we have the Redeemer pistol, which is a fast firing Uzi that chews up ammo but also enemies. And now finally we have the two best grenades, The high explosive one is the starting grenade, which is ultimately the best one with a small blast radius, and it is compensated for it by high damage and some armor penetration. And then we have the stun grenade, which is the cutting edge pass that doesn't do any damage, but temporarily stuns enemies over a wide radius. This is extremely overpowered, as you can stun enemies and then mow them down with any of your other weapons. Then for the next category we have the B tier, and the weapons that deserve to be in here is the SG-8 Punisher, SG-88 Slugger, MP-98 Knight, P-4 Senator, SMG-37 Defender, then both the Diligence Counter Sniper and the R63 Diligence AR, then the MG-43 Machine Gun, GR-8 Recoilless Rifle, LAS-98 Laser Cannon, and finally the G16 Impact and G10 Incendiary Grenades. So first of all we have the Punisher Plasma Shotgun, which is an energy variant of the Punisher that deals in formidable explosive rounds. This weapon's damage is great, as it needs to be compensated for its small firing range as a shotgun weapon. Then next up we have the Laser Cannon. This is an amazing beam laser that cooks robots well and doesn't use ammo. Recent patches have generally improved it to the top of the B tier, and I've even heard that it may soon will keep climbing the tiers, with the newest patches leaked. Then next up we have the two Diligence rifles. The R63 Diligence is a solid range rifle that's good for precision damage on robot enemies. And then the Diligence Counter Sniper is a bigger, punchier version of the Diligence that doubles down on its strength, but it requires a stable firing position from longer range. Following this we have the Machine Gun, which is a heavier, slower and deadlier version of the Stalwart that packs a punch, but it remains cumbersome. This weapon could really be in the A or even S tier. It has everything for a God tier weapon, but the damage compared to other weapons is just not there yet. Then we have the Recoilless Rifle, which is a rocket launcher that excels when coordinating with an ally and having them rapidly feed you rockets. This weapon is very fun, but as you always need a friend to use, so it can become completely useless if you play by yourself. Then next up we have the two very similar SMGs, both the Knight and the Defender, that can be used as a one-handed. They have very high firing rate and will eat through your ammo quickly, but they for sure are lethal at close range. And then for the last few weak weapons we have the Senator Pistol, which is a heavy revolver that does preserve ammo well, but does less damage than you'd hope for and requires frequent reloading. Then the Slugger is a Punisher variant that deals high damage slugs, often staggering opponents, but it's very hard to aim and use quickly. And then lastly we have the Blitzer Shotgun. This is the most expensive cutting edge weapon. The Blitzer fires arc lightning, but it isn't that reliable. It's good for groups of low level enemies but not for anything else. And then finally for grenades, we have the Incendiary, which is a firebomb that is used for aerial denial. It's decent in extractions or defense missions. And then the Impact Grenade is a zero fuse explosive that is suited for precision blasts, but it can't be used as effectively on bug holes or bot factories. So then for one of the last categories we have the C tier. Only 4 weapons deserve to be placed in here, which is the P2 Peacemaker, AR-23P Liberator Penetrator, the LAS-5 Scythe, and the JAR-5 Dominator. Weapons in the C tier are the lowest of the totem pole, so don't expect much here. First of all we have the Peacemaker pistol, which is a serviceable starting pistol that is fine in a pinch with balanced stats, but as soon as you can, you should switch to one of the B tier SMGs. Then next up we have the Dominator, which is a slow, impactful AR with armor penetration, but limited power. Then we have the Scythe, which is a recharging, accurate laser that is useful against robots, but not great against bugs or any other monster. And then finally we have the Penetrating Liberator. This is a starting weapon but with slightly worse stats, and balanced by the light armor penetration. And then last but not the least, we have come to the last D tier, and here deserve to be placed the AR-23C Liberator Concussive, and the G6 Frag and G3 Smoke. I would say that these are the worst weapons in the game for sure. The AR-23C is an unremarkable explosive version of the standard AR that doesn't really live up to the promise and is barely functional at best. The damage and usability is so low that it barely compares to the next two grenades in damage output. And then finally we have the Smoke and Frag grenades. The frag grenade is an explosive that trades power for blast size. It is only suited for clearing very weak enemy groups. The range is great but damage so low that you can only use it in low level areas. But then on the other hand, for the smoke grenade, it is used for escaping enemies, which is something that almost no one does in this game. And as this is a damage tier list, so of course smokes are in the bottom of the barrel. And that's about it. So with that said, I really do appreciate everyone for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other good Helldivers 2 weapon loadouts, guides, or even tier lists that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe, and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and not miss any more amazing content. With all this said, you have an amazing day, and I will catch you in my next video, so take it easy, peace.